Good morning, everybody. It's December 23rd, around 7:15. It is definitely winter in eastern Pennsylvania. Just got hooked up to the trailer, getting ready to head out to a small job in Saucon Valley area in eastern Pennsylvania. I'm just going to do a quick walk around, then I'm going to head out to the job, show you what we're doing out there. I just want to double check everything, make sure we're all hooked up. Here's our trailer. I just want to make sure everybody knows that when we come out to your house, this is what we're bringing if we're doing residential work. Commercial work normally isn't a problem, but in a small driveway, in a small tight area, this is definitely an issue. All right, so we're going to be at the job in about 15 minutes, and I'll start shooting from there. If you like what you see, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. And also, if you have any requests on anything you'd like to see in the future, please comment below and let me know what you'd like to see, and we'll see if we can work it into our next video. Okay, so today we're going to be doing this small electrical room. It's about 225 square feet or so. Out of respect to the homeowner, I'm not showing the outside of the house, but this is the floor we're going to be doing today. We're just going to hand grind this. We're going to apply a primer, the intermediate coat, and the flakes today, and transform this floor. Okay, so we're just about set up. What I want to do is go over our materials we're going to use today and how you can purchase them also from our online store, which is concretefloorsolutions.net. So here's our system. I'll show it to you right now. Okay, this is the 200 square foot system. First, we're going to install our primer. That's the 707 LVP, which stands for low viscosity primer. Then we're going to install the CFS-707, which in this case is going to be the intermediate coat. Then we're going to throw our flakes in that coat. And then we're going to install the 137 NUV, which is a UV resistant top coat, which in this particular case really doesn't matter because we're going to be in a basement. There's not going to be any ultraviolet light exposed to this. So this is the area we're going to do. I'm going to show you some video of me grinding, prepping it, and then installing it so you know how to do it yourself. Since this is a small area, we're doing all this by hand, but this is a 6-inch Hilti DG150 that we're using. This is connected to our Hilti Pulse Vac. That's the RACATAC. I'm going to grind this out. It should take, I'm going to guess, half an hour, so it goes pretty quick. But stay tuned. I'll show you the next part as soon as we're done with this. All right, so I just want to talk a little bit about the grinding process. We're almost 3/4 of the way through. It took me about a half an hour. This is not really hard. So these actually a little slower than normal. But I wanted to show you how I grind and the pattern or whatever that I grinded. It's very easy to see ruts in the concrete when you grind, so I always grind in a circular pattern. So I just want to show you real time what I do here when I grind, then we'll put it on time lapse and I'll just finish up here and then we'll get into the coating. So this is real time. One thing I do want to say now, we're getting scratches in the floor, which is what you want for any epoxy to bite onto. So you see the scratch marks, which is what you want. We're just doing this over the whole floor, then we're going to put our primer down. Okay, It's 10 o'clock a.m. So we got here at 8. Took us probably half an hour at least to get our equipment in here because this is a very steep hill coming into this house. And again, we're doing everything by hand. Normally we use a 1,000-pound walk behind grinder. In this case, we can't even get it in the house. So we did a hand grinder. So anyway, here's the floor now. We grind everything really good. And you can see the pattern from the grinding wheel, which is fine, but the floor is scratched really good. So now we're going to apply our prime coat, which is the 707 LVP. Then we're gonna put the 707 on top of that and the flakes. And then we're going to put the clear coat on top of that. So we're gonna get started with that in just a minute. Okay, so we're just getting ready to get started here, and I just want to go over the materials real quick. This is the 200 square foot system that is on our website. This is the 707 LVP, which stands for low viscosity primer. We're putting this down first. This material penetrates into the concrete, so our next coat, which is the 707, bonds to that. This is the intermediate coat. We're going to throw our flakes into the intermediate coat. We have our flakes right here. And then we have our 137 MUV, which is a UV resistant clear top coat, which we're going to put on top of the system. As far as our tools go, we have a mixing paddle, which we're going to use to mix our epoxy as we go. We have a 24-inch squeegee. Squeegee is very important. I'm going to get into that a little bit when we apply this, because if you don't have the right down pressure on the squeegee, you're not going to get the right coverage, and you may not get the material to go as far as you want it to. We have a 6-inch edge roller for our edges. And then we're using an 18-inch roller. You can use a 9-inch roller, but it's it takes a longer time with a 9-inch roller, but we use an 18-inch roller for our flooring. And then we have spiked shoes. And that's it. So we're going to show applying this in a minute, and we'll go from there. Okay, so here we go. We're just getting ready to pour out the prime coat. This is 1.5 gallons of the primer. Again, it's the 200 square foot kit available on our website, concretefloorsolutions.net. I'm going to pour this out. I'll show you how to squeegee it. We'll go from there. Okay, so you see how I poured a zigzag pattern across the floor. So now we're just going to push this around. The prime coat does not need to be thick. What this needs to do is just get the concrete wet so our next coat sticks to it. So you don't want this puddle. And again, it's not uncommon with this material when you put it down, it actually soaks in and looks like it's drying out. That's what the primer does. It's supposed to penetrate in.
Once I work these edges down, I'm going to start zigzagging back and forth.
I know I'm going to be going off camera, you can't see it underneath here. Just working the edges. You just want all the concrete wet with the primer. The primer will take care of the rest. Okay, so now we have everything squeegeed out. Jeff is beginning the back roll. And you can see how this looks like it's soaked in, which is fine. Again, that's what the primer is supposed to do. So when you back roll it, it kind of just looks more even. So again, this is the 707 LVP. So he's going to back roll this whole thing. And that's it. We should be done in a couple minutes. Okay, now the next step, we're going to pour out the 707. Mixed again in a 5-gallon bucket. This is a 1.5 gallons, part of that 200 square foot system. We're doing 252 square feet exactly. So you're going to pour this out and I'm going to squeegee this out the same way I did the primer. This is a little bit thicker, so this is where it's important that you use the proper down pressure on the squeegee to go as far as you want it to go. So whenever I squeegee, normally what I do is I picture frame and I do the edges first. And then you just go right in the middle, side to side. And you'll feel this is definitely thicker. And one thing I see a lot in these videos is people like to throw the flakes on before they get to the end of the floor. The problem with that is if you squeegee this out and you leave the material so thick that you don't have enough to hit the end, you can't come back and get the epoxy because you have flake in it. So you want to squeegee all the way through first, make sure you have enough material down to reach the end before you flake. I want to pick this camera up and show this to you. So now in this particular case, it's very hard to see. I have a puddle here. I actually poured out too much material. So now what I'm going to do with this top coat is I'm going to push it back again, and it's going to be heavier in the middle of the floor, but I'm going to use this material distributed evenly over the floor, and then we're going to back roll it. Now I'm just going back and forth with the squeegee. I'm just going to push it back to the beginning, and I'm actually taking some weight off the squeegee this time. Okay. Now we're all squeegeed out, and we're going to do the edges again, just like we did with the primer. And then I'll show you how to throw the flakes out here. Okay, so we're getting ready to flake the floor. I have about 6 pounds of flake here and 250 square feet of floor. People always ask, how much flake do I need for a floor? And for some reason, people are always under the impression they need a lot more flake than you really do need. So 6 pounds of flake, I'm just going to show you how to throw it and what to do to make sure you have enough to make it to the end of the job to cover the floor. So when you throw flake, it's very important you throw it up in the air. You want it to shower down. And you just throw it up in the air and you let it fall down. This is all you do. You just walk around your floor and shower down like that. So now you come across the whole floor doing this and make sure you cover the whole floor. Once the whole floor is covered, if you have leftover material, you can keep coming back and using up more and more material until you run out if you want. And it's all up to you. You can do whatever you want with these floors. But you want them to try to look consistent. But it's very important that you throw this up in the air and let it shower down, and then they lay flat on the floor like that. And then we're going to vacuum up where we overthrew on the plywood here, wherever we vacuum up that the next day before we do our clear coat. I know this is not all in the shot here because you can't see in the corner here, or maybe you can. I'm going to just drizzle this right down here because I don't want to overthrow real hard on the other side of the door. All right, now I just want to show inside the bucket. So now I went over the whole floor. You see what I have left in the bucket. I have almost half of it left yet. So now that the whole floor is coated, now I'm going to go in a little more detail just to kind of use up the rest of this. I have to go behind this door. I'm just going to have to close this for a second here. So now I can just lightly go over the whole floor. If you see any spots that look lighter than others, just go take care of those areas. You can go as heavy or light as you want, assuming you have enough flakes to go here. But by using this method, you're going to have enough because you got the whole floor coated already. So whatever you throw out now is just extra. And the beauty of these flake floors is it's like throwing camouflage on the floor. So if you have any mistakes in the floor or whatever, this covers them up because you have something to break up a solid color. That is a huge thing with these flake floors, especially in garages. Because if you do scratch it or chip it or whatever, this will help conceal any issues you have with the floor. I think I'm pretty good here. I'm going to get right inside the door here. Okay, you basically look around, make sure there's no areas that look like drastically different than anything else. And I gotta say, it looks pretty darn uniform to me. Of course, you can overthink this very easily. I'm just going to throw a little bit more out here, just because I can. Just hit a little bit right there. All right, that's it. Bucket's empty. That's how you make sure you have enough flake to do the whole floor. So we'll be back tomorrow. We're going to do the clear coat, and then we're done. Okay, folks, we're going to wrap this up today. Yesterday we did the 707 with the flake. Today we're going to be doing the 137 MUV clear coat. So we just came in this morning. We just vacuumed some of the excess flake off the surrounding areas just to clean it up. We're getting ready to put the clear coat down right now. All right, so we have the 137 mixed. I have it in a bucket. I'm going to pour it out. One thing to keep in mind also, when you apply the material, you want to squeegee and back roll perpendicular from each other so you get good even coverage. So I'm going to pour this out, squeegee it quick, back roll, and then we're done. And one thing I don't want to do is pour out too much, so we're going to leave some in the bucket here. I'm just going to set this bucket right here, and I'm going to let it sit so it can drip over the side and not affect anything else. So you see as I squeegee this, I'll be pushing and I back up just to make sure I'm still pushing a puddle. That's the other hazard of a clear coat in a low light situation. You can't really see what you're doing. Okay, so now we squeegeed out the 137. Again, I went across the floor and we're back rolling perpendicular. So we both had spiked shoes on. One thing I wanted to mention is you can hear, well, I don't know if you can hear it, but if you hear the material, for us, that's actually very important. We can hear the thickness of the material. So this is a fairly thin top coat. You don't want to go too heavy or it's going to be too smooth and you could run into a slip issue. So we mixed up the 1.5 gallons for the top coat. Again, you can put this down heavier if you want. Now, I already threw the roller in there, but there's about 1.5 inches of material left in that bucket. Again, this is 252 square feet exactly. So we had plenty of material to do this area. So again, all these materials are on our website, concretefloorsolutions.net. Our service website is concretefloorsolutions.com. So if you're interested in any of these materials, we sell the kits, we sell materials individually, concretefloorsolutions.net. We appreciate you watching. If you like this, please subscribe, hit the notifications, and hopefully we can help you out on the next one. Okay, so we're all done. I'm reaching in the door here. There's shadows and reflections, but I can assure you this is all a solid color here, but just to kind of show some of the texture on the surface and kind of see what we have. That's it, that's our finished floor. All right, so we're all wrapped up here. Thanks for watching. We will see you on the next one. Have a good holiday.